Hello, 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 and welcome back to Adults After Dark. My name is Mimi, and I'm your host for the evening. I want to thank everyone who has tuned in, actually has been tuning in since day one. Those of you who have subscribed, and if you are new to this channel, and you have watched the episodes and you like what you're hearing, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know every time we upload a new conversation. Weekly disclaimer: this is an adult audio conversation. Guys, I do apologize for the sirens in the background. I do have my window open. So yes, this is an adult audio conversation. We talk all things adult here. So if you are in the presence of minors, please send them away to another room. Put in your AirPods, your earbuds, your headphones, or whatever it is that you have so we can be respectful of the minors. This is a judgment-free channel, so please be respectful of everyone, and please also abide by the YouTube guidelines. We would not disrespect one another. We are all adults here, and we do disagree, but we will disagree respectfully in our comments, okay? So, like I said, this is episode number 4. And tonight's topic is: have you ever been in a toxic relationship, and how did you get out of it? Have you ever been in a toxic relationship, and how did you get out of it? So let's think about that for a minute. So today's episode is have you ever been in a toxic relationship, and how did you get out of it? Now, for me, so it seems like every time I do one of these conversations, I continue to refer back to this one particular guy that I was dating. So I have been with this guy for 14 years. As I've told you guys before in previous episodes. So if I've been with him for 14 years, that means I have went through a lot of shit with him. I met him when I had to been 17, late 17, early 18. I know I was still in high school. I was getting ready to graduate high school, and he was probably 23, 24. Nope, I take that back. Yeah, he was about 23, 24, because he was much, much older than me. He was probably 6 or 7 years older than me, and I was probably 17 or 18. So technically, he was a grown man. But like I said, I keep referring back to this guy because, like I said, we've been together 14 years. We were together 14 years, and I have been through so much shit with him. With him, yes, my relationship was toxic. As a teenager, I didn't see the toxicity at that time. Oh my God, we got into, basically I was abused. I was physically abused. I was mentally abused. Um, I was emotionally abused. It was just so much unnecessary shit with him. And like I said, it's no excuse, but I was young, dumb, and stupid. And no one told me back then, hey, this is not what a relationship is supposed to be. This is not what you want, you know. And it wasn't the fact that, excuse me, it wasn't the fact that if he hit me, I thought he loved me, because back then I didn't know what love was. I just knew that I was dating a guy. He was much older than me. Back then in the 80s, 90s, us as young teenagers, that was the shit back then. You got an older guy, you're like, oh, hell yeah. Your guy driving. He wasn't driving, but a lot of us think like, yeah, he driving. He much older. He doing this for you. He doing that for you. Girl, please, it wasn't nothing like that. Nothing like that. So, like I said, we had so many trials and tribulations. It was just, when I look back at it now, I'm like, girl, what the fuck were you thinking? Like, if I knew now, I'm sorry, if I knew then what I knew now, I wouldn't be taking no shit from nobody. Do you hear me? Like, nothing. It, girl. So, being in a toxic relationship, yes, I was. And I'm going to tell you this one time. We got into it for the dumbest shit. I mean, dumb. So, he had made he had fried some chicken wings one day. First of all, let me tell you, I moved in with him 4 days before I turned 19. And so this guy that I keep telling you guys about is actually more to the story that I haven't brought up yet, but we will probably eventually get into that. Um, and when that happens, you're gonna be like, girl, what the fuck were you thinking? But like I said, I was a teenager. I didn't know any better. No one said, hey, you know, this is not what you do. This is not how things go. My mother didn't even say, hey, that's not right, I mean, don't get me wrong, I did keep secrets from my mother, but my mother wasn't dumb either. But, excuse me, like I said, with this guy, it's a lot of things that I kind of omitted. But it will eventually come out once we get further along in this conversation. Not today, but like I said, I was with this guy for 14 years, so it's a lot. But on this one particular time, he had made some chicken wings, right? And he had a friend over. One of his friends was an older guy, and he lived across the street. It was a guy that he played checkers with all the time. So this older guy loved checkers. That was his thing. His thing was to drink vodka neat and play checkers. So this one particular day, the older guy was over to our house, and um the guy that I was dating was frying some chicken wings, right? And so he did the whole thing with the egg and milk and blah blah blah. He thought he was really doing some shit. And And you know, while I'm telling you this story, this kind of brings me to another story, but I'll get to that in a minute. But he, he thought he was really doing something with these wings. Okay, so you did the egg and the milk and, the flour. You know how you get that extra crunch and shit, right? So when he did it, he was telling his older guy friend, hey, this how I did the chicken and, blah, blah, blah. And so when he was showing him how to do it, so I think if I remember correctly, when he first did it, he did it like dip it in the milk of the egg, then the milk, then the flour, then some however the order went. Right. So when he was showing an older guy, and I said, well, last time you had did this, this, and this, and this, right? And so he got instantly mad. I mean, instant attitude. And he just looked at me. He didn't say nothing at first, right? And so he's still talking to the older guy. And eventually the older guy had left. Now the guy that I was dealing with, he was still mad. This had to been a couple of hours later. And I'm in the kitchen. He and I both were in the kitchen. And he said something to the fact that, why you gonna say that I did something wrong? Something to the, I can't even remember what it was he said, but I had my back to the wall and he slapped me. He slapped me so fucking hard. I was just stunned. I was like, what you see on TV, how you hold your face and shit. And I ran to the bedroom. And I was like, I don't believe he did that shit, right? And then he came in there and he was like, sit your motherfucking ass in here. Don't bring your ass out here until I tell you to. And he slapped me again. And I was like, whoa. I was so fucking stunned. When I tell you I was so stunned, I stayed my ass in the room. I didn't even come out. I was so mad and I didn't know what to do. It's not like I had like a friend to talk to or somebody to call and say, hey, this is what's going on, blah, 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 yada, yada. I didn't have that. And I came out the room a little while later. I don't know how much longer it was later, but I came out the room and he was sitting. I don't know if he was sitting at the kitchen table or on the couch or something, but he was like, didn't I tell your motherfucking ass don't come out that room? I mean, like I was talking, like I was one of his kids he was talking to. And we had got into a big time. I'm like, motherfucker, I ain't your kid. You don't talk to me like that. I mean, we literally just start fist fighting through the house. Through the house. And mind you, we got small kids in the house because if you remember, he has two small children and then I had my one child and we all were together. And it was a big thing. It was, man. And then I remember another time where we were living with his cousin. And I'll get into another episode of how that even happened. But it's the same guy. We were living with his cousin. And we were some spade players. I mean, us as African Americans, I don't want to offend anybody, but I don't know who's listening to this. But us as African Americans, we were card players. We spades was our thing. So if you know card players, it's spades, it's bid whist, tonk, pity pat, stuff like that. Our thing was spades. And so we were playing partners, and he and I were partners. His cousin and her guy were partners, right? So we just kicking it. We got some drinks, we just chilling. We sitting back playing some spades, right? And like I said, we playing partners, so you don't know what each other got in their hand, okay? And he asked me how many books I had. So I had told him how many books I had, and I could see the instant frown on his face. It's like I can't like just go in there and pick out whatever card I want, right? So when in the midst of playing, he played whatever card he played, and he was expecting me to have a certain card to get this book. Whatever the card was that he played, he expected me to win this book, right? I didn't have it, and if I'm not mistaken, if you're a spades player, you would know. Okay, I didn't have any. I think I had bidded like a couple of books because I didn't really have anything. So I didn't have any trumps. So I didn't have nothing to back nothing up with. I had like all little cards, 7, 8, 9, 10, 4, 3, 2. I didn't have no aces. I didn't have no kings. I think I had a jack or something like that. But if you got so many of one suit, say like I got 6 hearts and then I got a 10 and a jack. 9 times out of 10, I got 6 hearts. Them hearts ain't going nowhere. Maybe I might get one book out of it, right? So, I didn't play like he wanted me to play. Dude, if I don't have it, I can't play it, right? Tell me why this motherfucker backslapped me because I did not play what I was supposed to play. I didn't have it in my hand, but you wanted me to have this particular card in my hand. Oh man. He backslapped me, and I instantly got up, and there was a skillet on the stove, a cast iron skillet, and I picked up that skillet and I knocked the fuck out of him. And we just tore up his cousin's house. I'm telling you, it was just bad. So, y'all, I can tell you some stories about this guy. Like I said, I was with him for 14 years. And it's ridiculous. Like I said, I didn't know then what I know now about being in a toxic relationship, about being abused. I mean, all of this, someone to depend on. I didn't know, and the things that I know now, I didn't know back then. Nobody taught me this. I pretty much learned this on my own, and it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But now I'm not putting up with no bullshit. I know now I'm not putting up with no bullshit with nobody, husband or not. I'm not doing it. So guys, comment down below. Have you ever been in a toxic relationship? What happened? How did you get out of it? How I ended up getting out of it, it was some years later. Years, like I said, again, 14 years. And I don't know if I mentioned this before. He had always cheated on me. It was never a time that he was faithful to me. He had always cheated on me. And We moved into another apartment one day, and I went to work. I had hated him so much. I would leave. I didn't have to be at work till like 7 o'clock in the morning. I left for work like 4:30, 5 o'clock because I couldn't deal with him anymore, just so I wouldn't be around him. And he when I would leave, like when I work on the weekend, when I leave, and he would leave behind me going to his girlfriend house. And I told him, "You're not gonna fuck me and fuck her too." I told him, I said, "Get your shit and get the fuck out of my house." And he thought I was playing, and I was so fed up. I packed his shit and I threw that shit out. That's how I end up getting out. So comment down below, guys. If you've ever been in a toxic relationship, how did you get out of it? You know, what was toxic? What was toxic about it? Of course, again, I have Googled a couple of responses here, and it's not, I think it's probably only about 4. So I'm going to read some of this. So one of the people has said, "I was emotionally manipulated for over 2 years to the point where he made me believe that everything that was wrong with us was my fault." Excuse me. And made me feel so worthless that I believe I wouldn't find anyone better than him. He cheated on me at least 5 times that I know of, stole money from me repeatedly, broke some very precious sentimental jewelry of mine in fits of anger, and would slap me whenever I cried when I was scared, shouting and confronting the triggers for me from early child abuse. Suffice to say, after I finally worked up the courage to leave him, I was in a state of manic depression. I'm assuming it's supposed to say of manic depression. Ooh, tried to kill myself and had to get a restraining order as he would stalk me and send me threatening messages for leaving him. Wow. Wow. Bitter control freak that was. Wow. 3 years after leaving him, and a lot of intensive therapy, I am happy to say that I am in such a much better place now, and I have met the love of my life who treats me like a queen and looks after me and cherishes me. One of those stories where if you hold on long enough, things really do get better. Oh my God, I am so glad that she got out of that, because think about it. Is it a she? It's a she, yes. So just think about it. If she didn't get out of that, she would not be here to write this letter here, this story. That is sad. I'm so glad that she got out of that. Next one says, "I was dating a guy for 2 years. He emotionally drained me. We argued over pointless things, and every time we would argue, regardless of what it was, I was the one apologizing. He spun everything that happened between us and always blamed it on me. I gave up as much of my time as I could for him, and he couldn't give me anything back. Even asking for something like $5 for bus fare to get home was asking too much." So I paused on that because this is a foreigner that wrote this, so the $5, I had to kind of figure that out. Okay, so $5 for bus fare to get home was asking too much. Every argument ended up with me bawling my eyes out, begging for him to stay because he would threaten to leave. He tugged at my emotions without any thought of how I felt. And one day I found out he had cheated on me, and he blamed it on me for not putting out enough. I ended up staying with him for another 6 months, but I could never fully trust him. I went through his phone while he was busy and found out he'd been dating four others alongside me. I added them all to a group. Wait, what? I added them all to a group along with my contact and shared screenshots of each other on their chats with on his phone. You know, that's to the extreme. I'm not doing all of that. First of all, um, if you can't trust a person, your significant other, why are you with them? I know trust has to be earned, but I'm going to give you, if I date somebody new and I don't know your background, I'm going to give you trust out the gate, okay? And if you keep that trust, it's up to you or not. Depends on what you do. So in the meantime, while we're dating, I can look into some of your background. Y'all, when I tell you I have friends that this is what they do. This is not their job, but this is what they do, because they have done it to their significant others. But my thing is, if you got to go through all of that, you don't need to be together. You do not need to be together. And they continue on to say, I told him I was sick of him lying, cheating on me, and left. Since then, he talks with my friends and consistently tries to wiggle his way back into my life. Every time I want to welcome him back, I know it will only be worse. So I just tell him to fuck off. He ruined dating and relationships for me, and I have trust issues as a result. It has been nearly 3 years since I've attempted to get into a relationship with a guy. So I can bet you, I can guarantee you that this person that she is referring to is out living his best life. You're scarred. You've been scarred for how long? She said 3 years. You've been scarred for 3 years. But he is probably living his best life. He is probably got 2 or 3 girlfriends, or he may decide to settle down and have one person and probably got a kid or two and probably getting ready to get married. While you sitting here, all messed up in the brain because you can't trust nobody. You can't put your present relationship, compare it to the past relationship. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You would never get through a new relationship comparing it to the past. Everybody's different. You cannot do that. This person says, yes, I was basically an accessory to him, and then he dumped me over text when I was no longer of use. We worked together for 4 years. He eventually got fired and I got the promotion he was after. Okay, so that person's not telling much there, but I'm glad you got the promotion, girl. Is that a girl? Got the promotion he was after. I'm assuming that's a female. Okay. Yes, emotionally, physically, sexually, and mentally. Oh boy, did I hit the jackpot with this asshole. He raped me for the first time. He was on my phone, snooping more than I was. When I was with my friends he approved of, he would time it. When I didn't come home to him, he would drag me by my elbow. One time I was enjoying myself a bit too much, and um, he was a hair short of breaking my arm because I didn't run back to him on time. Lastly, he broke up with me a few days before prom when he knew I picked out everything because his side chick thing didn't clash. So you were in high school. Wow. Wow, that is crazy. Okay, so here is another person screaming at the top of his lungs in my face, always fighting about petty crap, no common respect. He crossed my boundaries almost every day. Turns out, people like this really don't have much respect for themselves. He was a real piece of cow dung, and he knew it deep down. The worst thing I did for him, for us, was love him harder in order to make things better. Worst mistake ever. Don't do this. This left me emotionally drained every time and become available to be stepped all over, aka emotionally abused. He ended up cheating on me, and this is what it took for me to wait. He ended up cheating on me, and this is what it took to really lose me. I should have left his at this what? I should have left at the first red flag. Girl, I can't even read today. However, time passed and my prayers for his behavior have turned around because of the grace of God. He's literally a new man now. Only time will tell. I'm glad the process of healing this deep emotional damage done, not the easiest. So are you still with him? Is this a lady? Yeah, I'm looking at the picture. It's a lady. I wonder if she's still with him since he has changed. I wish he had actually got more into it. Okay, let's see what this one says. It stinks, to be honest. At first they will seem charming and act like they actually care about you. Then, after an extended period of time, they will start to become very controlling and manipulative. Since they are toxic, you become toxic, yelling, screaming, name calling. I fell into this trap and I regret it very much. It has destroyed my self-esteem and well-being, and now I have to try to heal myself to try to become the person I was before I met him. Girl, yes, please. Because two wrongs don't make a right. You know, you don't want to stoop to their level, but then again, it's like you're not gonna talk to me any fucking way that you feel like it. It's not gonna happen. I don't care who you are. It's not gonna happen. This person says, yes, it was driving me absolutely insane. You can't be yourself in a toxic relationship. It is boring. Probably not, but it's not fun either. So what's the point? Being single is better than toxicity. Please know that. That's true. That's true. That is so true. Let's see what this person says. My father had an on and off again relationship with a woman for years. When they were happy, it was delightful to be around them. When they weren't, their relationship was combustible, volatile and destructive, not just to them but to everyone around them. That's true. That is so true, because if you are in a toxic relationship and you are around your friends, your siblings, it rubs off. Um, they're looking at you like, why you let this person talk to you like that? Why do you let them do this? And then everybody starts getting judgmental. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to get judgmental. Um, and then everybody is like, what am I trying to say? I can't figure out the words I'm trying to say. That's just like, if you got a really good friend and you telling them what's going on in your household. Y'all, let me tell you, I'm watching perfect example. I'm looking at, what is his show? Tyler Perry's Sisters. Sisters. It's not sister but sisters. And if you have seen that show, comment down below, because the one girl on there was dating a married man, and she goes back and tell her friends everything. So if you're telling somebody everything, of course they're going to be judgmental toward that person that you're talking about, because you like, this is my friend or my sister or my brother or whatever. You're not going to do this to me. It's not to me but to that person, and they're coming to me telling me this. So every time I see you, it's gonna be a problem. I'm going to hate you because this is what that person is telling me. So it's kind of like, are you really getting two sides of the story, or are you just getting what that friend is telling you? You know what I'm trying to say? Comment down below if you know what I'm trying to say. But it's a cheesy show, but I mean, we're talking Tyler Perry. The storyline is good, but the actors is anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much what this person is saying here. And then she goes, is it a she? I don't even know if it's a she or a he. But then they go on to say they were married for a few years, then dated intermittently after their divorce. One day, my dad called to ask for advice, or to quote Ambrose Bierce, to ask my approval on a course already decided on. Not understanding that, but by now I was in my late 30s and living in another country, so the impact his relationship had on me had dramatically shifted. We are thinking of getting back together, and you know us, so I did value your opinion, he said. Well, I said, have you since the last time you broke up changed in any fundamental way? He paused before answering. No, he said. I adored his disarming candor. Have you observed since the last time we broke up that she has changed in any fundamental way? No, she hasn't. Let me say this before I finish on. Matter of fact, it's only a couple of sentences. Then he going to say, then you are replicating what you have done in the past, and as such can predict what will happen next. I said, you don't need my advice. You already seen this movie. Exactly. So what I was about to say is, if you're in a toxic relationship and you guys decide to go your separate ways, a couple of years later, you meet up and you kind of rekindle some stuff, right? When you rekindle some stuff, 9 times out of 10, You are rekindling the good stuff. You're not thinking about all the bad things that happened, the reason that you broke up in the first place. An ex is an ex for a reason. If we are an ex, I'm going to think about this whole relationship that we had previous. Okay? An ex is an ex for a reason. There was a reason that you broke up. Now, I can see if you all were together and one of you were not ready to be an adult and say, hey, I want to settle down. This is what I want my relationship to be. This is what I'm not going to do. This is how we're going to get along. You know, things like that. So I can see if that happens. Now, if that's a mutual breakup, there's no hurt feelings or anything like that. And then 5, 6, 10 years down the line, you all meet up and you start talking and excuse me, you see that things have changed. The person actually grew up and not doing all the things that they were doing when you all were together. So people can change. People actually can change. Now, if you all sit down and talk and say, that person say, well, you know, after we broke up, I messed around for a little bit and then I got serious in a relationship and, you know, we were together for 7 years and I was faithful. I got my life together, what have you. Now, I can see that, because if you're young and you are so in your wild oats, you're not really ready to be in a relationship, then you need to let that person know, I'm not looking for a relationship. If I just want sex, then that's just going to be just sex, or I just want to date multiple people. I don't want to be in a relationship. I want to get it out. I want to do these things. That I can see because that person is saying to you, hey, I'm not grown up yet. I'm still out doing this. Okay. Maybe in about 5 or 6, 10 years or whatever, then we'll see. And like I say, you run into that person again and they totally have changed. They have grown up. They have gotten themselves together. And then you can probably see where it goes then. But if you're in a toxic relationship and you knew that if you bat your eyelash one too many times and that motherfucker slapped the hell out of you, really? No, you meet down the line and you guys start talking, you need to think about that. Oh, that motherfucker hit me. Oh, no, I ain't going back. Nope, not doing that one. So, yeah, you have to think about why that ex is an ex. That person wasn't an ex for a reason. Okay? So, guys, we're going to end this conversation right here. Please, 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 please leave your comments down below. If you have questions, leave the questions down below. If you have suggestions on topics, leave them down below. Again, I'm going to say this is an adult conversation. Sometimes the language can get a little out of control. So please do not listen to this in the presence of minors. Put in your headphones, your earbuds, AirPods, or what have you. Or send the children to another room, or depending on what time you're listening to this, send them to bed. This is an audio adult conversation. We are respectful to one another. If you do not have anything respectful to say, please do not comment. Okay, we are grown, we are respectful. If you like this audio conversation and you've been listening, you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe now. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified every time we do upload a conversation. Be sure to share this with your friends or whomever. If you comment down below something that I think we should continue to discuss on this, say maybe a part 2, let me know in the comments if you want to do a part 2 on this, because we have a lot of young people out here, like I said, this is for 18 and over. So some of the young people, if they are listening to this, they can probably relate. They can probably relate to this and probably get some really good advice from us older people, because we've been around. The things that they're doing now, we have done that, and we can give them some advice. Now, what I can say is we can advise them, but they're going to do what they want to do regardless. We can't say, you need to leave him or her, or they're not right for you. We can't do that. That's not what we're here for. But if we do have good advice for the younger people, then we can post that. I tell people all the time, like if they're getting married, I think it was Facebook or Instagram or something, that people are getting married and then they ask for any marital advice or wedding advice or something like that. The first thing I tell them is, do not let outsiders into your relationship. Now I know everybody have that one good friend that they talk to, and even in that aspect, you can't really tell them everything unless you trust them that much, because everybody, they're gonna start being judgmental, and they're only hearing one side of the story. So think about it. There's two sides of the story, and then there's the truth. Okay, so yeah, we're not here to tell another person to leave whomever it is that they're toxic with, but to listen to us. If you know that this is not right, then you need to fix it. There's a lot of programs out here for things like that. That's something we're going to get into later. We're not going to get deep into that right now, if you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, go ahead and comment down below. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And guys, like I said, we are adults, so we're going to be respectful of each other. Okay? And I think that's it. So guys, good night. And I will talk to you guys next week. Bye bye.